So I upset my player. Welcome as always to my tennis coaching. And yeah, last week I upset a player, and I've been reflecting on it over the weekend and just sort of thinking about why they possibly got upset, my role in them getting upset, and how I could sort of, if I could, maybe do it a little bit differently. So let me just set the scene a little bit. So private lesson last week. Start the lesson as I always do. A little whiteboard, a little handheld whiteboard, and the player just says, to be at my best today, I have to. And they write down 2 or 3 things, behaviours, which they're going to work on in the session. And the session was based on the serve. So she wrote down, to serve my best today, I will. And then she writes down 2 or 3 things. And generally, she would write down things like be calm, breathe, take my time, focus. But it was interesting because she started off with quite heavy technical stuff. So she needs to get the right grip, and she needs to hit the ball high and hit the ball hard. So that was interesting. And no matter what you write on the whiteboard, I just always go with it. And what I say to the player is, okay, as we go through the session, if those things change and you think that there's other things you want to explore and you want to take stuff away, then great. So straight away, I'm a bit worried. Okay, it's all gone very technical. I did say, okay, it's a bit more about behaviour. And then we set up a practice, and the practice was one that I use quite a bit, where the player can stop the rally at any point and serve from that position, so they can control it, catch it with no bounce, and they have to serve from that position. And we explained the game, the practice, and the player just didn't do it. They just didn't interact with the game. They didn't stop it at any point, and we played a set to 7 points, tiebreak set, and it didn't engage. So I stopped at the end of the 7 points, and they said, okay, what's the game? And they said, to stop the ball when you feel you want to and hit a serve. Okay, why haven't you tried it yet? I'm not really focused. I don't really see opportunities here. I said, that's okay. So maybe one thing we could look at is try and explore a little bit more. So maybe that might be on your whiteboard to go and explore. Because at the moment, we're not trying it. So we're not exploring different movements here. We're not exploring different ways to serve or different ways to win the game. She sort of nodded. And she went back and she wrote down she's going to try and explore the game and be focused and listen to the coach and not watch the other courts. So it did go a bit more towards behaviour. But I was a bit worried about, okay, there's a lot of focus on me here. Like, listen to the coach. At this point in the session, I've not talked an awful lot. And it's a lot about concentration, and you got to be focused. And we tried it again, and to be fair, she stopped it a couple of times and tried it. And I said, okay, great. Can you explain why you stopped that one? And she weren't quite sure. And I said, well, was there anything you've seen? Was there anything maybe that you felt that you wanted to stop that one? And she's like, I don't know. And you could see her go into a shell quite quick. And I quickly recognised the change in behaviour. And I said, well, listen, this is not a test. I'm just interested. I'm just interested in what you see, because I'm not inside your head. Like, you really have to help me out here. And, like, I've got to try and help you find a solution. But unless you communicate with me, I don't know. And she got really defensive. And you could see she wasn't going to cry, but she wasn't a million miles off. And I was sort of thinking, where's this come from? And then I was like, am I asking too many questions? She obviously felt judged, and she felt a little bit of maybe pressure of me asking her questions. And we had a conversation about, okay, I need information from you. Like I want you to tell me more, and it can help me then. It can help me find a way of helping you. And we sort of went back out, and it improved a little bit, and she started to sort of engage with the game a bit more. and the smile came here and there. And to be honest, the lesson finished a bit of on a positive. And I said to her, okay, what changed in your behaviour? What changed from the middle of the session to the end? And she said, oh, I was having fun. So that's quite an important thing, isn't it? So maybe on the whiteboard next week, the one thing you want to write down is I want to have fun. Because when you have fun, you enjoy it. And then you start to embrace the learning a little bit more. And the session ended, and I was a little bit deflated after the session. I was like, oh. And the first person to look at is myself. Like, oh, have I got that wrong? I've been thinking about it over the weekend, and a couple of telling things that really came out. Because we had a lesson with the player a few days before, and it was absolutely fine. In between, the players had lessons elsewhere with other coaches. I'm not saying that's the issue. But over the weekend, thinking back to her answers, looking at her answers on the whiteboard, because I still had the whiteboard, so I had a little look at her answers. It was all very coach-focused. Listen to the coach, make sure you concentrate and work hard. And that just got me thinking, okay, is that messaging that's been passed on via other coaches? And I said to her during the session, okay, don't give me answers that you think I want to hear. Because they were stock answers. I've got to listen, got to work hard, got to concentrate. And we have moved past that in our private lessons. But I got the stock answers back. And this player is very energetic. Concentration span is not the greatest. They just want to have fun and just want to play, which is great. And I don't know, and I'm going to sort of ask a couple of questions next week implicitly in terms of, okay, is that messaging coming from the other coaches? And I know she had a lot of tennis lessons before, because when I first started working with her, it was very difficult to engage with the player in terms of asking her questions, because she just give me split step, C shape, finish over my shoulder, hit the ball harder. Again, the stock answers. So it's taken me a real long time to get past that, past the superficial answers, and get more into the sort of the behaviours. But this week was a massive step back. Now, I don't know if they've gone elsewhere and had a lesson with someone else, or I know they had a couple of group sessions in between our private lessons this week. So whatever coach they've been with, has there been mixed messages in there? And it really got me thinking about, like, you can't combine these two ways of coaching. It's very difficult to blend a ecological player-centered approach to a traditional coach-centered approach. And I just feel that I seen that in the player this week. The player got really confused because they go to me and I'm all about them, and they're asking the question. So they're providing the answers, I'm asking the questions. And have they gone to a session where it's the opposite way around, where the coaches tell, and then therefore the player just believes that's what the coach wants to see, in this case me. And there will be a part 2 to this video, I think. I've got another few lessons this week, so I'm gonna try and dig a little bit deeper. But difficult situation, because I don't want the player to have a bad experience. And even they said at the end, towards the end of the lesson, like, oh, there's just too many questions. I didn't quite know what the answer was. And what I said to that was, there's no right or wrong answer. Whatever you answer is fine. However, what I would like is honest answers. Like, I'd rather her say, I don't know, help me, rather than say, okay, I've got to concentrate, got to focus, got to listen to the coach. So difficult session last week, and one that I've really spent a lot of time this weekend thinking over and reflecting on. It's difficult sometimes using this approach in terms of getting information from players, especially if they're accessing other coaches or even other influences. Like if their day-to-day life in terms of school and home, if they're just being constantly told what to do, when to do it. When you come to a tennis lesson and you've got autonomy and empowerment, that is a challenge for players, to be creative and think for themselves. And I've had that before with a player where they've really found it uncomfortable to be empowered with decisions, and it's quite challenging. So there we go. As always, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. Leave some comments down below. Share, please share these videos with your coaches team, fellow coaches. It just helps get the information out. A slightly longer video today, I'm sorry, but as you see, one I'm a little bit complex by, and a work in progress. Until tomorrow, I'll see you soon.